UHD quality video streaming, internet like a boss. SLT Mobitel Fiber. UHD quality video streaming, internet like a boss. SLT Mobitel Fiber.
Comfort Moodian භාගයයි කලක් පවතින අලුත් පෙනුමයි.
Tonight, lights out. Kalanithissa halts operations as the electricity board warns of outages while unloading fuel. Don't believe it. After a recent travel advisory on Sri Lanka, the Foreign Ministry tells Canada the picture is distorted. Get it right. High Court pulls up the police and the Attorney General's Department on filing cases with incomplete evidence. Different views. The Cabinet co-spokesperson responds to the TNA's Modi letter.
We are a sovereign country, not a part of Indian Union.
All that and much more coming up on First at 9. This Wednesday, the 19th of January 2022.
Fair and Lovely will alut nama then Glow and Lovely. Fair and Lovely then Glow and Lovely.
From Ada Derana, this is Ada Derana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening, welcome to First at 9. I'm Mohammed Gekmani. Now then, with the power crisis looming, the central bank has released US dollars to purchase fuel stocks, with a sizable chunk going to the Kalanithissa power station, with fuel currently in the process of being pumped from tankers. Energy Minister Ada Derana says that the public should use power-saving measures until at least April or May, when the rains could save the day and prevent any need for outages. Today, the operations at the Kalanithissa power station came to a complete halt. The reason is quite simple. It ran out of fuel. This has a profound effect on the electricity supply as the Kalanithissa power station churns out 283 megawatts, mainly via a combined cycle power plant of 150 megawatts and a 115 megawatt single power generation unit. Given the situation, the Minister of Energy said this morning that the central bank released $64.9 million to pay for fuel, adding that though 2 tankers were ready to be unloaded, the dollar shortage meant it couldn't be done before.
ඊයේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා මහා බැංකුව විසින් ඩොලර් ලබා දීලා මුහුද මැද තිබුණු නැව් දෙකක් ගොඩබා ගැනීමට අවස්ථාව ලැබුණා. එයින් ලැබෙන ඩීසල් මෙට්‍රික් ටොන් 37500න් මෙට්‍රික් ටොන් 10000ක් විදුලිය නිෂ්පාදනය සඳහා ලබා දෙන්න මම තෙල් සංස්ථාවට උපදෙස් දුන්නා. ඒ සමගම ඒ අයගේ දෛනිකව ඉල්ල තිබ්බේ මෙට්‍රික් ටොන් 1500යි. එම් බැලුවොත් දවස් 8කට ප්‍රමාණවත් ඩීසල් තොග අද අපි ලංකා විදුලි බල මණ්ඩලයට ලබා දෙනවා.
However, the Ceylon Electricity Board said that it takes a considerable time to pump fuel from the tanker to the Kalanithissa power station. With that being the case, the CEB said that some areas will experience interruptions to the power supply between 7:45 p.m. and 9:30 p.m. However, the Energy Minister is calling for a tightening of belts on the power usage front as a careful balancing act is needed to get through the difficult period.
දැන් පැය 24ම විදුලිය ලබා දීම දීලා අපි සීමිත විදේශ විනිමය අවසන් කරගත්තොත් අපි තව මාස එකමාරකින් විතර තෙල් ගේන්න අපිට විදේශ විනිමය සපයා ගන්න බැරි වුණොත් රට පැය ගානක අඳුරට යෑමේ අවදානමක් තියෙනවා. හැබැයි දැන් ඉඳන්ම දවසකට විනාඩි 90 ගානේ විදුලිය කපා හැරීමක් සිදු කළොත් වැසි කාලයේ උදාවන තුරුම අපිට දවසට පැය එකමාරක් පමණයි විදුලිය කපා හැරීමක් සිදු වෙන්නේ. දිනපතා පැය එකමාර බැගි නැත්නම් විනාඩි 90ක් දිනකට විනාඩි 90ක් ගානේ විදුලිය කපා හැරීම කියන එක අපේ ජනතාවට අමාරුවෙන් උනත් ඔරොත්තු දෙන්න පුළුවන් දෙයක්. එකපාරට මේ දවස්වල පැය 24 හොඳට විදුලිය තිබිලා එකපාරට පැය 3ක වගේ විදුලිය අයිමි වීමකට මුහුණ දෙනවට වඩා.
In the meantime, oil prices rose for a 4th day today in the global market. Brent crude futures, which is the global benchmark, rose 48 cents to $87.99 a barrel. That, however, is after it touched $89.05 per barrel during trading, which is its highest since October 13th in 2014.
මීට සතියකට කලින් තිබ්බ මිල ගණන් අනුව මට මේ තෙල් සංස්ථාවෙන් දැනුම් දීමක් කරා අපි විකුණන එක ඩීසල් ලීටරයකට රුපියල් 30ක් පාඩුයි. දැන් මේ අලුත් මිල ගණන් අනුව ඒ පාඩුව තවදුරටත් ඉහළ යෑමක් තමයි සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ. ඒ නිසා මම හිතනවා අපි බල ශක්තිය අරපිරිමැස්මේ ඉන්ධන අරපිරිමැස්මේ ක්‍රමවේදයන්ට යන්න ඕනි.
In the meantime, the Ceylon Electricity Board continues to say that the breakdown of one of 3 generators at the Norachale coal power plant is a mega contributor to the power issue the island is faced with at the moment. During the cabinet media briefing, it was put to the Energy Minister that the Norachale power plant was envisaged as the ultimate solution to the country's power issues.
If somebody has mentioned that we would not face a power crisis because of the Norachale power plant, it was of course a myth. There are breakdowns, there are maintenance issues. In such situations, it may not be operational. At the moment, there are 3 power plants, 300 megawatt each. One power plant is under repair at the moment. According to the CEB sources, it will be operational from 24th, most probably on 22nd. So thereafter, this situation would be eased out.
The Engineers Union of the Ceylon Electricity Board, however, believes that since the hydropower generation was increased over the recent past as a short-term solution, there could well be a power shortage come April or May. Petroleum Common Workers Union, meanwhile, are calling for the government to restart operations at the Sapugaskanda oil refinery to stave off more power cuts. On the long term, however, the Energy Minister believes that the answer to the island's power issues lie in the government's policy to shift towards renewable energy.
Sri Lankan වසරේ දින 365ම වගේ ඉර පායන රටක්. ඒ වගේම සුළං වලින් විදුලි නිෂ්පාදනය කිරීම ප්‍රභවය ඉතාම ඉහළ මට්ටමින් තියෙන බවට හඳුනාගෙන තියෙන රටක්. ඒ වගේම අපේ මුහුදු රැලි වලින් පවා විදුලි නිෂ්පාදනය කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේම අපේ උණුදිය උල්පත් පදනම් කරගෙන විදුලි නිෂ්පාදනය කරන්න පුළුවන්. පුනර්ජනනීය විදුලි ප්‍රභවයන් විශාල ගණනක් සතු රටක්. නිසා පුනර්ජනනීය විදුලියට යෑමත් ඒ වගේම අප රට සතුව තිබෙන තෙල් සහ ගෑස් සම්පත් හැකියක්මනින් ගොඩ ගැනීමත් තමයි මේ ප්‍රශ්නයට දිගුකාලීන විසඳුම් වශයෙන් තිබෙන්නේ.
In the meantime, Energy Minister Uday Gammampila explained the workings of the $500 million credit facility for fuel, which was announced by India yesterday.
They have offered us $500 million revolving credit facility with an interest rate of LIBOR plus 125%. It is of course very attractive rate of interest considering the prevailing interest rate for the loans taken by us. However, it's not an immediate relief because what we have received is just the offer letter. Thereafter, we should receive the draft agreement. Agreement, of course, we have finalized the conditions, but we should receive the finalized agreement from them. We have to obtain the clearance from the Attorney General. Thereafter, only External Affairs Department of the Ministry of Finance should sign the agreement with Exim Bank of India. Then we have to follow the procurement procedure and purchase petroleum products for which they will pay, and we have to pay 1 year's time. But once we settle the 500 million facility, we can use it again and again.
Speaking this morning, the Energy Minister also addressed social media claims that the government has decided to import fuel of a lower standard.
කිසිම අවස්ථාවක අපි ඉන්ධන ප්‍රමිතිය වෙනස් කරන්න අමාත්‍ය මණ්ඩලයෙන් ඉල්ලීමට තබා එවැනි සිතුවිල්ලක්වත් කාගේවත් සිත්වල පහළ වෙලා නැහැ. මේක සමාජ මාධ්‍යවල යන කතාවක් පමණයි. අපි හැම විටම ගෙනල්ලා තියෙන්නේ ඔක්ටේන් 92 සහ ඔක්ටේන් 95 තියෙන තෙල් මුලින්ම ඒ නැව්වලට පටවන තැනදී ස්වාධීන පරීක්ෂකයන්ගේ සහාය ලබන අපි ඒවැයි සාම්පල පරීක්ෂාවක් සිදු කරනවා. ලංකාවට පැමිණියාන් පස්සේ ආනයනකරු තෙල් සංස්ථාවර LIOC එක සාම්පලේ බැගිනුත් ඊළඟට තෙල් ගබඩාව බාරව සිටින තෙල් ගබඩා පර්යන්ත සමාගම විසින් තව සාම්පලයකුත් අරගෙන පරීක්ෂා කරනවා. ඊට අමතරව යම් ටැංකියකින් තෙල් නිකුත් කිරීමට පෙර ඒ තෙල් ටැංකියනුත් සාම්පලයක් අරන් පරීක්ෂා කරනවා. පරීක්ෂාවල් කරන අවස්ථා 4දී ඕනෑම තැනක මේ තෙල්වල බාල ප්‍රමිතියක් තියෙන හඳුනා ගන්න පුළුවන් වෙනවා.
පිරුම් හලේ යම් ආකාරයක කලවම් කිරීමක් හෝ සිදු වුණා නම් ඒක වාහන හිමියන් විසින් දැනගන්නවා. එහෙම වුණා නම් සාමාන්‍ය ක්‍රමය තමයි අපිට කන්තෙල් නීතිගත සංස්ථාවට දැනුවත් කරන එක. හැබැයි පසුගිය කාලේ පුරා එහෙම මහජන පැමිණිලි කිසිවක් අපිට ලැබිලා නැහැ. ඒත් වශයෙන්ම අපිට එහෙම ලැබිලා තියෙනවා නම් අපි ඉන්ධන පිරුම් හල් වලට ඒක දැඩිව අපි ක්‍රියාත්මක කරනවා. ඒ වගේ පිරුම් හලක වැරදි ආකාරයේ යමක් සිදු වෙනොත් පිරුම් හල් වලට ලබා දී දෙන බලපත්‍රය අවලංගු කරන්න කියන උපදේශ ලබා දීලා තියෙනවා. අපි යනවා ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙනවා.
Now moving on with other local stories. Ilangai Tamil Arasu Katchi parliamentarian M.S. Sumandiran labelled yesterday's policy speech by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa ineffective, with no solutions to current hardships being offered, while adding that the country remains in a precarious position of subsistence. In response, the government benches accused the opposition of ignoring the comparisons between Sri Lanka and some of the world's largest countries in terms of the pandemic situation.
During the debate on the president's throne speech yesterday, Ilankai Tamil Arasu Kachi parliamentarian M.A. Sumandiran accused the head of state of offering no direction and failing to inject confidence in the people through his speech. He stated that the president's speech did not provide solutions to the country's burning issues.
He was right when he identified one issue, when he said, I quote, "The most serious challenge we face today in economic management is a current foreign exchange problem that we all know." He identifies the issue, he lays the blame on the shoulders of someone else, but doesn't provide a solution or direction. A policy statement of a government is one that gives a direction to give the people confidence. While he makes the statement, we are told by text messages that another $500 million has been put into our begging bowl. It's like a daily existence now for this country. That is the level to which the country's finances have come to.
Meanwhile, Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna parliamentarian Veerasumana Veerasinghe responded by accusing the opposition of ignoring the global economic situation and the hardships faced by much larger economies.
ප්‍රතිපත්ති ප්‍රකාශනයක් කියන්නේ කිරිපිටි පෝලිං අඩු කරන එක නෙවෙයි. ප්‍රතිපත්ති ප්‍රකාශනය කියන්නේ ගෑස් පෝලිම අඩු කරන කියන කියා දෙන එක නෙවෙයි. ප්‍රතිපත්ති ප්‍රකාශනයක් කියන්නේ ජනාධිපතිවරයා හෝ රජයේ ඒ ප්‍රතිපත්තිමය ක්‍රියාමාර්ගය ඉදිරි වසරකට හෝ ඉදිරි කාලයට ඉදිරිපත් කරන ලියවිල්ලක් මිසක් මේ පෝලිං නැති කරන ආකාරය කියා දෙන සරල කාරණාවක් නෙවෙයි. ඔහු සඳහන් කරන ආකාරයට මේ ලංකාවේ විතරයි මූලාසනාඩුවට ගරු මන්ත්‍රීතුමනි මේ අර්බුදය තුල මේ ප්‍රශ්න තියෙන්නේ. ඔහු දේවවාසී විදියට ඔහුන් අදහන ඇමරිකා එක්සත් ජනපදය අද ලෝකයේ බලවත් ආර්ථික අර්බුදයේ තියෙන රටක් බවට පත් වෙලා ඇමරිකා එක්සත් ජනපදයේ මිලියන් 14ක් ජනතාව අද නිවාස රහිත මිනිසුන් බවට පත් වෙලා homeless people එහෙම නැත්නම් අපේ රටේ අපේ භාෂාවෙන් කියනවා හිඟන්න බවට පත් වෙලා මිලියන් 4කට වැඩි ප්‍රමාණයක් රක්ෂා වලින් එළියට දාලා ඇමරිකා එක්සත් ජනපදයේ මේ කතා කරන මොහොතේ මේ කොවිඩ් වසංගතයේ දෙවෙනි රැල්ලත් එක්ක තුන්වෙනි රැල්ලත් එක්ක අටවල් ගණනාවක් බරපතල අර්බුදයට මුහුණ දීලා තියෙන වෙලාවේ තමයි අපේ රට මේ ගමන් කරන්නේ.
Sri Lanka is set to receive 1 million metric tons of rice from China as a donation, with the consignment expected in the island in March. Addressing the Cabinet media briefing today, Cabinet co-spokesperson Dr. Ramesh Patirana said that the donation is made to mark the 70th anniversary of the Rubber Rice Pact signed between the two countries in 1952. Meanwhile, there was also criticism of the Tamil National Alliance-led move to address a letter to the Indian Prime Minister seeking Indian assistance on implementing the 13th Amendment to the Constitution in the island. A delegation of parliamentarians in the north and east, led by senior Tamil politician and Tamil National Alliance leader R. Sambandhan, met the Indian High Commissioner yesterday and handed over a letter. The letter is addressed to Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, seeking India's assistance in ensuring that the Sri Lankan government implement the 13th Amendment to the Constitution. The 7-page letter highlights promises made by different governments to implement the 13th Amendment, including devolution of power. This topic was broached at today's Cabinet media briefing.
In relation to 13th Amendment, we have fully implemented 13th Amendment, and as you know, representatives are also elected several times. Actually, when the war came to an end in 2009, then the President Mahinda Rajapaksa conducted elections in both northern and eastern provinces. So it's implemented 13th Amendment, and there is no concern about it. And I'm particularly not aware of the letter they handed over yesterday.
If our Tamil parties have any concern or worry about the implementation of the 13th Amendment, they should have conveyed their concerns to our President instead of Indian Prime Minister, because we are a sovereign country, not a part of Indian Union.
In the meantime, the Cabinet spokesperson was asked whether the government has decided to turn to the International Monetary Fund, which so far hasn't been a preferred option.
මේ දක්වා අපි අවස්ථා 16කදී ජාත්‍යන්තර මුල්‍ය අරමුදලේ සමාජිකෙක් විදියට යතම් ගණනුණු කරලා තියෙනවා. අවසාන වතාවට 2016 ඩොලර් බිලියන 1.1ක්. මට මතකයි යුද්ධය ඉතාම තීරණාත්මක වෙලාවේ 2008 වර්ෂයේ ඩොලර් බිලියන 2.5ක් ගත්තා. ඒක තමයි එතෙක් මෙතෙක් ජාත්‍යන්තර මුල්‍ය අරමුදලෙන් ලබා ගන්නු ලැබූ විශාලම මුදල තිබුණේ. ඒ නිසා මේක නිකන් අපිට අදාළ නොවන ආයතනයක් කියලා කියන හැඟීමෙන් අදහස් ප්‍රකාශ කරන එක හොඳ නෑ. ඒ නමුත් ආණ්ඩුවක් විතර මේ දක්වා එහෙම තීරණයක් අරගෙන නෑ. පහුගිය කැබිනට් සාකච්ඡාවෙත් එහෙම තීන්දුවක් අරගෙන නෑ.
After Canada issued a travel advisory on Sri Lanka, citing the country's economic situation less than a week ago, the Foreign Ministry has issued an official statement on the matter with the hope of reassuring Sri Lanka's safety for tourists. The communique issued today sought to assure the Canadian authorities that safety, especially that of women tourists, is of paramount importance and has been addressed by the increase of women police personnel in tourist areas.
The Foreign Ministry has responded to a recent Canadian travel advisory warning its citizens in Sri Lanka to stock up on food and fuel, and also warned of risks to female travellers. The Foreign Ministry labelled the warnings as based on erroneous and outdated information. It explains that specific attention is being paid to the security of women tourists, with police presence being increased in all popular tourist destinations, along with a greater presence of women police officers at stations. The ministry in its statement assures the Canadian authorities that Sri Lanka has successfully overcome immediate challenges posed by the pandemic and has been feted by international travel media. The ministry adds that it must be noted that even despite its economy being affected by the pandemic, Sri Lanka is making every effort to reinvigorate its economy this year through prudent policies. Food security and law and order, it adds, are the topmost priorities of the government and assures the Canadian authorities that high priority is being given to ensure all essential items continue to be available to the public at all times. With regard to the security situation, it explains that the government of Sri Lanka maintains a minimum presence of military in the north and the east to ensure security and stability, similar to their presence elsewhere in the country. It also stated that there were no arbitrary arrests and detentions of persons by the police or security forces.
We will see you shortly on the other side of this break. Stay with us.
Big 3.
Welcome back. You're watching First at 9. Now, the three-member bar of the Colombo High Court hearing the case against former IGP Pujit Jayasundara today pulled up both the Police Department and the Attorney General's Department for submitting incomplete documentation as evidence. The bench informed the Aegis Department that under such circumstances, a case should not have been filed at all.
The case filed against former Inspector General of Police Pujit Jayasundara on charges of criminal misconduct for his handling of the Easter Sunday terror attacks was taken up in the Colombo High Court today. The Attorney General's Department called a witness today to present a total of 38 initial documents relating to intelligence reports sent by Director of State Intelligence DIG Nilantha Jayawardena to IGP Jayasundara. The witness, Chief Inspector Nimal Sena Ratna of the Intelligence Reporting Division, was at the outset questioned on the absence of original copies of 6 documents marked by him by Senior Deputy Solicitor General Dileepa Piris. The witness then told the court that he had not brought one of the copies with him. To this, the three-member bench pointed out that many of the files marked by the witness either had incomplete or contradictory documents, and chided the police department for providing incomplete evidence to the Attorney General's Department and the courts. After examining the evidence, the three-judge bench informed the plaintiff in open court that the case should not have been filed with incomplete and flawed documentation. The witness also told the court that IGP Pujit Jayasundara had clearly marked the majority of the 31 documents sent by State Intelligence Chief Nilantha Jayawardena for further action. He also revealed that notes had been sent to the Terrorist Investigation Division, the Criminal Investigation Division, the Senior DIG in charge of the Eastern Province, and the DIGs in charge of the Northwestern and Sabaragamuwa provinces to take immediate action on the reports. Further, the court was told that the IGP had marked 21 out of the 31 intelligence reports for necessary action. Following this, further hearing of the case was set for tomorrow. In the meantime, when the case against former Defence Secretary Hemasiri Fernando was also taken up in the High Court today, Deputy Solicitor General Sudarshana De Silva informed court of the conclusion of further presentation of evidence. With that, the three-member bench informed the plaintiff that its acquittal ruling will be delivered on the 18th of February 2022.
A German frigate and 2 Japanese naval minesweepers engaged in exercises with 2 Sri Lankan naval vessels yesterday. The SLNS Sayurala engaged with German Navy frigate off the coast of Colombo, while the SLNS Sagara held drills with Japanese ships Uraga and Hirado in the eastern seas.
The Sri Lankan Navy successfully concluded a series of naval exercises with German and Japanese naval vessels yesterday. The German frigate Bayern arrived in Colombo on the 15th of this month and was joined by Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force ships Uraga and Hirado that arrived on official visits to Trincomalee on the 16th. Before the exercises, the commanding officer of the visiting German Navy frigate, Commander Kalski Tilo, called on the Deputy Chief of Staff and Commander Western Naval Area Rear Admiral Upul De Silva at the Western Naval Command Headquarters on the 17th of January. The naval exercises were held yesterday between the German Navy frigate Bayern and SLNS Sayurala in the seas of Colombo. JMSDF ships Uraga and Hirado carried out drills with SLNS Sagara off the eastern coast. Among the primary exercises worked off were divisional tactics, station keeping, and maneuvering exercises. The Sri Lankan Navy then bade a traditional farewell to the departing German and JMSDF ships in accordance with naval traditions.
Now then, the little lioness Dora was introduced to the public yesterday at the Ridiyagama Safari Park and will be available for public audience at selected times. According to the Director General of National Zoological Gardens, the cub is still at a very young age and has just started on solids, but should do very well with a bit of human attention.
A new member of the Ridiyagama Safari Park made her special public debut yesterday. This was none other than lioness cub Dora, who was born at the Safari Park on the 26th of July last year. Despite being placed for public viewing, officials at the Safari Park have taken measures to keep Dora separated until she is ready to join a pride. At present, there are 15 lions at the Safari Park, with 8 cubs born at the park already.
The times that she's available for public viewing is from 9 o'clock in the morning to 10:30 a.m. and in the evening from 3:30 to 5 p.m. So the speciality of Dora is Dora, the son of Chandi and Lara. So Dora is the very first born of that couple, and Dora is the fourth born at the Ridiyagama Safari Park. So she is very special to us because she was given up by her mother as soon as she was born, and then our staff had to feed her and look after her and bring her up. So now she is healthy. She weaned actually about a month ago now, but still we are giving her milk as a vitamin or as some nutrition for her, additional nutrition. But she is now taking solids, that means meat, a certain quantity according to her weight. She is very playful and she is available for you to see.
Welcome back. This is First at 9. Now taking a look at the Colombo Bourse, Sri Lankan shares inched higher today as communication services and real estate companies rose, although weakness in the energy sector limited gains. At the closing bell, the CSE All Share Index was up 0.04% at 13,462.39 after logging its fourth consecutive session of gains. Now here's a brief report on today's market performance.
Today, the market ended in the green zone for the fourth consecutive day, gaining 5 points and closed the day at 13,462. While looking at the index movement, in the beginning, the market spiked by nearly 72 points within the first few minutes of the session. However, it took a reversal note while displaying a sharp fall during the midday, reaching an intraday low of 13,339. Eventually, the market recovered and managed to stay in the green at the end of the session. Even though it is a marginal gain, transportation sector counter brought down the index during the day. However, despite the bull run, the main highlight is that turnover recorded at a 3.5-week low as activities were into the lower scale compared to the past few days, and number of trades has declined to 45,800 compared to yesterday.
The rupee, meanwhile, maintained its unchanged streak at 202.99 cents against the US dollar today as well. Now let's take a look at how the Sri Lankan rupee fared against other major currencies during the day. And that's it from all of us here at First at 9. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.